Hello everyone, welcome back to Spectrum classes. In this video, I am going to discuss about the Stern-Galich experiment. And before starting this video, I am just going to summarize few important terminology that is important at the first step to know about the basics of the terminology which we are going to use here in this video. So the first term which we are going to use is spin angular momentum. So this spin angular momentum is the vector s, and the second term which we are going to use is spin magnetic dipole moment. So here mu s is the spin magnetic dipole moment. How we are going to explain this? This is the electron which is moving on its own axis, and this is also revolving about the nucleus. So it has two different type of angular momentum. One is due to revolution about the nucleus in this orbit, it is having orbital angular momentum, and due to moving on its own axis, it is having spin angular momentum. And corresponding to that, it is having some, because it is a moving charge particle, therefore it is having spin magnetic dipole moment and orbital magnetic dipole moment. Since we are going to discuss only about the spin angular momentum here in this video, therefore we are going to discuss about the spin angular momentum and spin magnetic dipole moment. In addition to these two terms, I am also going to discuss why in this experiment we are using inhomogeneous magnetic field, why we are not using homogeneous magnetic field. So let's start with the spin angular momentum first. So as I told you earlier, this is the spinning charge particle. This is spinning electron which is moving on its own axis. We are not bothering about the orbital angular momentum of this. Therefore, it possesses spin angular momentum which is represented by capital S, and it's a vector quantity. Therefore, I have written a vector sign over there. Since it is a moving charge particle, therefore it behaves like a magnet, and it is having certain magnetic dipole moment, spin magnetic dipole moment, which is represented by this mu s. S stands for spin, mu stands for magnetic moment, and it is again a vector quantity. It is having a direction. Therefore, I have written a vector over there. Right, now coming to the spin angular momentum vector. So the magnitude of this spin angular momentum can be calculated by the formula under root s plus 1 h cross. This h cross can also be written as h upon 2 pi, where h is the Planck's constant and s is the spin quantum number. So in case of one unpaired electron, we are having s is equal to 1 by 2. You all are familiar with this term, that for one single unpaired electron we are having s is equal to 1 by 2. Now coming to the magnitude, according to this s is equal to 1 by 2, it is having value under root 3 upon 2 h upon 2 pi. So this is its magnitude, right? I will tell you later on in the next slide what does this magnitude means here. Now coming to the component of this spin angular momentum about the g-axis. So here is we are having sz. So its component, since it is a vector quantity, so it has component in different directions. So we are just concentrating on the component in g direction, which is having values ms h cross. Here h cross is again h upon 2 pi. Now putting the values of ms. But before that, the question comes, what is this ms? So ms means magnetic spin quantum number. So this ms is having values 2s plus 1. So if I am putting my s is equal to 1 by 2, then what I will get? I will get two values for this ms. What does these two values will be? So ms has values plus s2 minus s including 0. So two values means if I am having s is equal to 1 by 2, so I am having plus 1 by 2 and minus 1 by 2. Here I am writing this plus 1 by 2 h cross minus 1 by 2 h cross. So this is the component. I can show you here. Suppose this is the applied magnetic field B, and this is the direction in the direction of z axis. Then the spin angular momentum having the length of this arrow is under root 3 upon 2 h cross, and it has two directions. One is in plus direction and the other one is in minus direction with the magnitude is h cross. So this is the component in the plus z direction. So Sz is equal to plus 1 by plus half, sorry, this is not there, plus half h cross, this is the direction, and minus half h cross is the direction. This is the magnitude, means length of this vector. So that is the difference between these two, is this s vector quantity and this sz. Sz is the component, vector component in g direction. So it means like that. So I hope you understand these two terminologies, spin angular momentum, and since it is a moving charge particle, therefore it is having a magnetic dipole moment, which is spin magnetic dipole moment. So it has two different values for this Sz. This will be explained on the basis of this Stern-Galick experiment. Now let's start with the silver atom. In silver, we are using the silver atom for this experiment. So I just give you a brief summary about this silver atom. So the silver atom is having atomic number 47, and according to this atomic number, it is having this electronic configuration. If we see, then all the electrons which are filled in this electronic configuration that are paired, and only one electron is there which is unpaired, right? If the electrons are paired, then they will not contribute towards this spin angular momentum, since their vectors are cancelled out by each other. Therefore, only this electron is there which contributes towards this spin angular momentum. The next thing is that 5s1. So according to this s orbital, this is s orbital, small s. For this, we are having azimuthal quantum number L is equal to 0. And if L is equal to 0, then therefore we are having capital L, that is orbital angular momentum value is again equal to 0. These all things I have explained in the atomic term symbols. It is not having orbital angular momentum. So it is having spin is equal to 1 by 2, and therefore it is having only spin angular momentum. And if it is having only spin angular momentum, therefore we are going to use this atom to determine its quantization of its spin magnetic moment, right? Now coming to the value, for this unpaired electron, S is equal to 1 by 2. And if I calculate, I have already discussed all these things previously. Since it is having two different orientations, so we are going to explain that on the basis of the Stern-Galick experiment. So let's start with this experiment. In 1922, Stern and Galick suggested that the spin magnetic moment mu s, which is a vector quantity of cesium atoms, and it is also done with the cesium atoms, but previously it was done with the silver atoms, is quantized. It is not having random orientation. It means like that. In this experiment, we are having silver atoms. I told you why we are using the silver atoms. It is its electronic configuration. Now, when the collimated beam of these silver atoms passes through the inhomogeneous magnetic field, then we get the responses. Here is the detector screen. So what kind of response we are getting? If the field is homogeneous, then we get a spot like this. This spot is because of the deposition of silver atoms on the recorder screen. But classical physics suggests that if we are having this inhomogeneous magnetic field and the collimated beam of silver atoms is passed through this inhomogeneous magnetic field, then we get this kind of response. The atoms are deposited vertically. The explanation which it gives for that vertical deposition for these silver atoms is that this unpaired electron is having certain magnetic moment, and this magnetic moment is oriented in different directions or randomly. It is oriented randomly. And when it is passes through the magnetic field, then a force is applied on this magnetic field from plus mu to minus mu direction, and therefore we are having a vertical deposition of the silver atoms. But in actual, what is observed, that is not the spot which is not deflected, we are not getting that. We are also not getting a vertically deflected line of silver atoms. However, we are getting the two different spots for the deposition of atoms, and they are shifted above the center line. It is shifted upward and it is shifted downward from the central line. This was very surprising, and the explanation which is given for this is I am going to show you here. So if you are not a physics student, you can skip this slide and you can directly go to the next slide. So the explanation is that if there is applied, or that this kind of response which is received in actual experiment is just because of the magnetic force applied on the magnetic moment is given by this relationship, then silver atoms are having same number of protons equal to the electrons. Therefore, it is electrically neutral. And if it is electrically neutral, it means charge is zero. And if charge is zero, then the force will again zero. So this is just not because of the deflection by the magnetic field. This is something else. To get what kind of force is acting on this, then it is first considered the potential energy. Consider the potential energy when this magnetic moment of the moving charged electron interacts with the magnetic field. So here this minus sign suggests that the potential energy decreases when this magnetic dipole interacts with the magnetic field. If we consider that the magnetic field is acting in the g direction, here I am showing you it is acting in the g direction. This is the north pole, this is the south pole, and this is the g direction. And if we see the component of this magnetic moment in the g direction, because our applied magnetic field is in the g direction, then this potential energy is equal to minus mu z dot b. Now we are considering the force acting on the particle. The force is equal to minus du upon dz. If we apply this formula over this, or we differentiate this equation with respect to g, then what we will get? We will get mu z, which is a constant. So mu z dot dB upon dz, where dB upon dz is the gradient of magnetic field in the g direction. And as much the gradient will be, it will deflect more and more the electrons passing through this inhomogeneous magnetic field. So that is why we are considering the inhomogeneous magnetic field for this experiment. Now, if the experiment is carried out when the magnetic field is off, then no deflection occurs as per the classical physics. So no deflection occurs here at this, in the absence of magnetic field. But when the magnetic field is on, then we are getting two different spots of equal intensity. One is above the central peak and one is at the same distance below the central peak. So from this experiment, the inference made that the magnetic moment of the electron is quantized. When it is having random orientation and it is passed through the inhomogeneous magnetic field, the beam splits into two different beams, and we get deposition of silver atoms on the detector screen at two different points. If we are having, instead of S is equal to 1 by 2, then we are having three different peaks. One is non-deflected, one is deflected at -1, and one is deflected as +1 and -1. If you find this video helpful and you understand the concept which I have discussed here, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.